All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the October 1st Town Council regular meeting in the Green Room. Can we please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item number 2, are there any visitors who wish to speak? No? All right. I need to make a motion, if you would. You've all received something this morning, and we need to amend the agenda with an item 6A, authorizing the resolution for the steep grant. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to amend the agenda for the steep grant.
All right, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3, a motion to approve the minutes of September 17th.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 4, appointments and reappointments, and we have none this morning. So item number 5 is a landfill update. John Sullivan is here from Loureiro, and he will speak with us, and he has a presentation. Morning, welcome.
Good morning. I'm John Sullivan with Loureiro Engineering. I'm with Steve Diaz, our Executive Vice President. I want to talk to you all about our landfill closure partnership. So a couple of things I want to go over was, why are we doing this? What has our timeline been? And what exactly will we be doing moving forward? So to start, many towns in Connecticut have unclosed landfills, no longer accepting waste, and these landfills were never properly closed. The state never enforced the closure, so these are an environmental liability. And, in conversations with the town, previously with Carl and with Michelle, we believe this landfill can be an asset to the community, and properly closing this will diminish that liability. We have a self-funding business model using a beneficial reuse of soils that we generate. These soils can be used to recycle on the property and help bring the landfill to a grade that we all agree on. In doing this, we have been coordinating with the town and the state on developing a material acceptability protocol, which is a criteria of what kind of material can be used on this site. We're also coordinating with the town and state on a grading plan, as well as the post-closure maintenance and monitoring. This project will create a revenue stream for the town, and you can use that revenue stream for whatever potential reuse options you agree on. We will have our operating and revenue costs all audited. This project will reduce climate change and greenhouse gases on the site at Old Nod Road, and there's no cost to the state or the municipality for this project. So going back almost a little over 3 years now, our company won an RFP to cap and close this landfill. That summer, we performed a landfill investigation and chemical analysis of the landfill. That pretty much consisted of us drilling borings into the landfill and determining what kind of waste is in there and to what extent on the site is the waste. The results came back favorable, and we determined that we can move forward with the beneficial reuse and moving this property forward with our self-funded business model. In August of 2022, we submitted a closure plan to DEEP that consisted of the material acceptability protocol and the grading plan. There's other things included in that, like a health and safety protocol, quality assurance plans, trucking routes, things like that. We initially heard back from DEEP in March of 2023. They gave us some comments. We responded to those comments, and we resubmitted our closure plan. For the next 2 years after that, we were going back and forth with DEEP along with Carl and Michelle, pushing them for additional comments and feedback on our closure plan, and it was radio silent over there at DEEP. Finally, this summer, back in July, they gave us additional comments on the closure plan, We responded to those comments, resubmitted our closure plan. In conversations with senior officials at DEEP, we're anticipating that towards the end of this year, we'll begin to import soils at the landfill and begin our project. So I want to talk to you all about what our scope of services will be once we do receive approval from DEEP. So to start, we'll be handling all the sourcing, on-site management, placement of all the approved soils, and we will be constructing the landfill to its final grade. That was in the grading plan. We will be providing the town with a weekly report of ongoing activities and what's to come at the site. Our initial grading plan, we called for about 235,000 tons of soil to be used to bring it up to its final grade. In our agreement that we signed with the town, we will be paying you a host fee of $2 a ton for every ton of soil that comes through the landfill. In past projects, we've learned that the soil compacts really well. So without even changing the grading plan, we've revised our forecast to be as much as 350,000 tons of soil. So we anticipate paying a host fee to the town of Clinton anywhere of $470,000 to about $700,000. Our timeline is looking close to about 15 months for construction. And we'll be working with you all to determine what it is you want to do at the site. In the past, there's been conversations of a solar array, and we'd be happy to walk you through that process. We have solar vendors that we use all the time. We can connect you all with. Other options could be an expanded transfer station and even the potential sale of the property. And then afterwards, we'll be taking care of all the post-closure maintenance and monitoring at the site. So that's all I had. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So you increased the amount of material from 200,000 to 350. Is it deeper or is it just broader?
Deeper, so it compacts really well.
And what's the material made of? What are you capping it with?
Soil.
Just topsoil? And so the concern, well, my thought would be runoff, permeability. You have a plan or a way that when it rains heavy, where the runoff goes?
Yes, sir. I could send you the grading plan, and in that there is a groundwater monitoring plan, and I could show that to you if you'd like.
Thank you.
Sure.
If you could send it to me, and then I'll disperse it to the council so everyone has it.
Absolutely. On top of the soil, there's cover material, so that will help.
And what's that material?
That's basically completely clean soil that it's covered, and then there could be seed added. Yeah, grass. Exactly.
My question is, what do you get out of this project? You're giving us this money for
He gets more.
soil and everything like that, bring this all up. What do you do then with the property?
It's our property.
Well, it's your property, but what we get out of it is we have other construction projects going on that generate soils. Normally, we would have to send them to New Jersey or Pennsylvania, and it's very costly to do that. If we could bring it to this landfill, then we would have an avoided cost, and we save a lot of money on other
Oh,
projects.
so you're saving money by taking soil from another place and bringing it to us? Is that what you get out of it? Oh, okay. I didn't understand, see?
That's a great question. It's an avoided cost. So we have a construction division that works throughout the state, and we're working on many projects, some of which that are in your area in Fairfield County. So as opposed to sending that material that meets the material acceptability protocol to Ohio or Pennsylvania, as John alluded to, we can bring it here. We save on transportation.
Oh.
Great question.
Yeah, well, dummy me, I always thought that the idea was that you were gonna fix this all up and that you were gonna put solar on there, panels like other towns do, and, you know, use it as a solar farm. So I'm way off base, so I'm glad you clarified that. So really, what you're getting out of it is you're using our place for lack of any word, storage of dirt or a dumping place, and you'll pay us to do that.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
So Todd, while this is happening, there won't be, the transfer station will be open and Two different properties. This is Old Knott Road. This is the old, this is the old landfill. That, just for the record, has had a landfill closure report with Deep sitting up there about 30 years. So finally putting it to bed and capping it and getting it out of the way is, it's a check in the box for the town of Clinton to finally put it to bed that we don't have anything to worry about. You know, it's finally capped and no expense. The original plan for that was $10 million, I think, what it would have cost the town to do this. Was what the estimated costs were, so it's taken a big lift off our back.
And we're making some money, revenue out of it, which is good.
How long do you monitor post-closure?
That's up to Deep. Usually it's maybe 5 to 10 years.
Typically 10 years.
Does that impact what we're able to do on that site? Or-
Okay. Anyone else? And you said you would help us in the future with ideas as to how we would use that land?
Yes.
Great. That would come after, obviously, it's capped.
It would probably start midway through. Would be a good time to start planning.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay. So 6A. All right, item number 6. The chief is here with a proposed town ordinance on automated traffic enforcement safety device information. We asked for language to be changed, and he is here to address Dennis's request.
So just before the chief steps up, so there was a conversation at the last meeting about some additional language that Dennis in particular brought up to have some clarity on the funds in the ordinance. That language was added. It was all sent to you ahead of time to get your eyes on it, and I know Dennis still had a few questions, but this is an opportunity for everyone to chat about the additional language, ask the chief any additional questions you may have. If everyone is good with the language, then it can go to public hearing. If there needs to be further edits, we need to hold off on the public hearing date because the ordinance needs to be set prior to putting it in the paper.
Okay.
So,
Chief, you're here just to answer questions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay. Dennis,
Yeah.
since
I
you
still don't
started the
like the
conversation?
Okay. No, it has nothing to do with the chief.
No.
Chief did a Great job.
You started, yeah.
Nothing on the chief or anything. I don't like the idea, number one, that the town council would have to go to the traffic commission if we wanted a project to use that money. We have to go through them and ask them for permission. Town council should never ask anybody. We are the ultimate authority in this town. I just thought a very clear reading was, and I said it to you, and I probably won't say it again now, right? Just a clear language. The first part was nice because it does reiterate that we must use it according to the state statute, which says it can only be used for infrastructure, transportation safety, and that's what the municipality is ordered to do. Okay? The statute does not indicate that we have to go through the traffic commission or anything else. I've read Middletowns, they don't have that in there. So I just want a simple statement that says, town will create a separate account overseen by the finance director. Any distributions from that account will be approved by the town council. That's a simple statement. So that means at the end that if, in fact, traffic authority comes up and says they want to put a rotary at the end of town or a crosswalk in, they just come to us, ask us, we give them the money. In the meantime, if we, as a municipality, want to use some of that money, if a sidewalk is in that parameters, we could start a sidewalk project. We have already done one, we're in the midst of doing another. So I don't see all this complicated about making an elapsing fund and it has to go through the police commission all the time. Not the police commission, I'm sorry, the traffic authority. Nobody else has that. I don't understand why we, town council, has to give up sort of our, whatever you want to call it, jurisdiction. And, madam, in all fairness to you, or you mentioned to me in the email that, well, the police commission has authority over the police budget. That is correct. The charter states that the police commission will take care of the police budget. This is not a budget item. This does not fall into that term. This is a separate item, created separate from anything. We should treat it separate, and I don't see why we have to put a lot of complicated language in there, and it doesn't have to be called a lapsing account like the Board of Ed or anything like that. It just, state statute says, make a separate account and spend that money the way they tell you, which is for infrastructure, for transportation and safety.
Right, and so what I
Very
was,
simple.
right, and what I was just trying to explain, and the chief could elaborate, is that any safety, pedestrian safety, traffic recommendations or identified areas in town, whether it be a sidewalk, the need for a rotary, or things like that, that's the authority that makes the decision on whether or not there's enough crash data and things like that nature that would justify such a sidewalk or a need. So they're the authorities that when we have any issues that come to town regarding safety or the need for something, they're the ones who are the deciding factor based on speed data, crash data, and all of that. So since they are that authority for the town, they would be the ones to make the decision that a sidewalk would be needed in this area or a roundabout in this area because of concerns. If the council had full authority over the monies, and then there was an issue that came up that was a severe safety issue, there may not be enough funds, so that is why it would go through them, just like the schools non-lapsing, where they present a need and explain the need. The town council is the ultimate authority and can say, no, we don't feel there is a need for that. We think there could be a better use for it. You can also present ideas to them and say, could you consider this? And they can do their research and say, yes, we do feel that we need this, or we don't.
So when we did the sidewalk project that we're doing right now, did that go through the traffic authority, or was that?
No, that was for conductivity, and that was not, that was different. But the funds only can be used for an area that has been designated as a safety concern, or, I mean, the chief could elaborate on that, yes.
So, and I'll follow up with Chris's, because I was thinking the same exact thing. So a project on Route 1 on state infrastructure, is that under the LTA's authority for Clinton Police Department? And I guess if it is, like, does the LTA have to approve that sidewalk project? Because if they didn't, that's a situation where we would be able to potentially leverage that money for those sidewalks somewhere within this fund, if it existed, and be able to leverage that from the council side. I just don't know where that LTA's authority falls under, like, state roads, because with Route 1
Right.
there.
So, go ahead, chief could explain this.
Can I explain our position? Okay, so first off, thanks for having me here to explain. Number one, the language wasn't in there. I was asked to put it in, so I did put it in. I crafted the language to be simple, clear, and direct, and I wanted it to follow the rules that we basically are following now. The town charter, section 818, clearly defines the role of the police commission and the police chief. My board is an elected board, and state statute 14297 clearly defines the local traffic authority as the police commission of any municipality which has an elected police commission board and an active police department. So that is the normal channel. I think there should be checks and balances here. And no one is saying that if the town wants to have a new sidewalk placed in, all you have to do is come to the traffic authority and we can look at it, do a regular analysis and say, this is how it goes. You still have the fiduciary authority. The charter responsibility of my elected commission is traffic and pedestrian safety through the LTA. So that is already the existing form of government that exists. All this is saying is that when this money is generated through this program, which is under their authority, because it is at that point equipment of the police department, facilities and policies of the police department to have this traffic safety program initiated and administered through the police department, They would decide what projects are needed and how those funds should be dispersed in compliance with the state statute. Once they make that decision, the ultimate authority on whether that money is expended or not comes to the town council, because you are the fiduciary authority of the town's taxpayer dollars. So the town council would then decide, we don't think that's a wise spend. If I want to buy a helicopter to monitor traffic, and you say, no, I need a rotary over here, that's where you spend the money, we're not giving you the money for the helicopter, then it doesn't go. It's just the same thing as that, understandably, my commission, again, is an elected commission. They have a responsibility to arbitrarily say that one board of town government can take funds that were established under a program that they oversee without any input from them. I don't think is good government. I'm sorry. I think we have a system of checks and balances. We changed our town government specifically to avoid these types of issues where one arm of the government has much more power than the other one. This is equal. They're in their lane, you're in your lane, and it's the way we do business. So that is why it's crafted the way it is. I didn't put the language in there to begin it because it's really, to me, it's the way the town does business anyway. It's normal practice in a municipality, but I was asked to put it in, so I put it in. Now to take it out again, I have to go wait longer. I just fell behind another. North Haven just voted it in last night to proceed forward, so now I'm behind another municipality and maybe getting the program established and running. So that's where we sit. We thought it was just clear and simple, and I understand, Dennis, that you wanted it simply stated, so that's what I tried to do, and I tried to follow exactly what I thought you were saying, that if you were gone, we didn't get somebody in here and say, oh, we'll just take all that money. Suppose we decide we wanted a traffic squad, or the police commission decides they want a traffic squad, we staff a traffic squad, and that we're expecting monies from this program to pay for those officers and offset the salary cost. And then somebody comes in and says, oh, well, you know, we want a street lighting project, and we're going to take $2 million out of that, and now fire your people that you had. It just creates problems when there's not that communication. There needs to be communication between my police commission and this council to understand whatever revenue stream comes of it, how that money should be properly spent long-term, not just one-offs and whims. It should be a coordinated effort. And as I say, my commission is elected, so they have a responsibility to the citizens and the voters of this town, just as this board does. And I don't think that taking that away from them is proper. It's not. I don't think that's the way the town charter intended this system to be in place, nor did the state when they created police commissions. They had a separate oversight view of that board specifically for the reason that the two shouldn't be mixed.
I don't want to argue with you, Chief, but I just want to say if that was the case, then they should have put it in the statute. The state of Connecticut should have said it should have went through the safety and traffic divisions. It didn't say that. It just says it goes to municipalities, period.
Well, I think it's, when you have to go to the statute, and when you see the statute, like I said, 14297 clear.
The state statute.
Yeah, the state statute, 14297 clearly states the traffic authority, and that's what their role is.
Go ahead.
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, the police commission is the traffic authority. This, I think, revolves more around the fact that there's going to be funds coming into the town. What do we do with the funds that are coming in? And what conversations we all have as it relates to that, whether it be the police commission, whether it be the council. I mean, the charter, our charter also says we have oversight of every board and commission in this town. The council does. That's what our charter dictates. So, you know, I mean, I think, you know, in an ordinance that's written, as far as an ordinance that we have written in our town, it should be specific to what we would like to see. I think taking the council away from any discussions or conversations or oversight, I would have a problem with that as well.
To me, it seems exactly how we would want our government to run. We have that traffic authority in their lane, looking at traffic safety, traffic and pedestrian safety issues, and we have the town council not only overseeing the policy, but you also have the right of last refusal. So you can say these funds aren't going to be spent because we believe that they should be spent on this, and then my commission has to go back and chew on that and figure out, okay, let's make this work.
No one's ever saying that we would deny the traffic authority. I don't understand. We would never deny the traffic authority. We have never denied anything from the police department in the last 6 years or 8 years that I know of. I mean, everything that you come forward to and ask, you know, so I don't understand why you feel like, oh, you have to have the authority and that we would like hold back on you. I don't understand that.
I don't think he's saying that you would hold back. I think it's that you would use the funds, for a purpose that you see fit while they have another purpose for it. And there may not be enough funds to support both initiatives. Similar with the Board of Ed, you know, they come and they plead their need to the council for use of funds. And, you know, regarding the sidewalks, the reason they need the stamp of approval to use funds generated from this program to put a sidewalk in is because of that statute. So you can put in sidewalks in the town and use town money and not need the LTA's authority or permission to do so. But because these funds are generated specifically through this enforcement device, there is an extra a stamp that needs to be used. So that's why the sidewalks on East Main didn't need to go through the traffic authority. Because the town funded them as, you know, through a grant. But if you were to use money, it's like we get opioid money and things like that. When they come through a certain program, there's certain restrictions that those can be used for. So per the statute, it's used for benefiting the safety of and traffic. And they're the authority that designates the areas or what needs to be put in place to support those efforts.
I don't think the council wants that responsibility.
I don't think the council is in a place to.
Of prioritizing their needs.
We're not
We're not
gonna
trying to be
prioritize.
responsible, we're just trying to have
Well, we could be-
transparency
we could-
and understand what's going on.
Transparency is great. We
So if
could
the
be
council
invited-
says one thing and they say a different thing, then technically speaking, they're going to have the authority to do what they want to do with the money.
No, it can't be dispersed without your, it says right in the language, it can't be dispersed without your vote. So,
But again, correct, that would be coming to us for a vote, not
Right.
for a discussion.
And that's why we can attend the police commission meetings when it's being discussed.
And give a recommendation of us.
What's the statute, the Connecticut statute that you said?
14297. It's improperly cited in our charter as 148 and 149, but actually 297 is improperly cited as section 6 when it's section 7 that identifies the traffic authority.
I think we have to be careful when we write these statutes. We only have, you know, one opportunity. Once it's written and goes to public hearing, that's what it is. And, you know, I'm inclined to agree with Dennis and Chris. I mean, I think that there might be situations where we feel different than the police commission. And I think if we write it the way that it's written now, it's going to be a back and forth, and it's going to be hard to find an agreement. Most of the time, like Dennis said, we're just going to agree that they're going to come forward with some money, and we'll probably agree with it. But what happens if we come up with an idea that the police commission doesn't agree with?
So what is so what would be the basis of your idea that would give a benefit to the town that would address a safety and pedestrian and traffic issue that the commission would not identify?
That's not what we're saying. They can
No.
identify all the problems they want. They bring them to us and we give them the money to do it. We're
Right.
not taking that authority away from them.
No, but you're
We're
asking,
just saying that we, the town, if we think that there is, like Chris is saying, if there's a small piece of sidewalk, not a large thing, that we can do and do it out of that fund, we should have that latitude without having to go over to the traffic authority and say, hey, we'd like to dip into the fund because there's a small piece of sidewalk between here and there and we want to get it done. We shouldn't have to ask them that. We should just be able to do it.
but see, that's because
Why is that a problem?
because you're saying it would be a small section,
You
but.
know, you're saying that you ought to always give us the money whenever we came to you.
Right.
Well, why is it that when you go to my police commission, they're not going to say, that's an excellent idea, yes, let's do that and vote it? So we're not getting fair treatment here. This is not right. There's
It's not
something
the
wrong
idea
here.
then.
You're just saying that you don't want to go to my commission for anything, and that's wrong. They're an elected body specifically elected to address these issues. And you're saying that you want Trump power over them just because you want a project, you don't want to go ask them. All I'm saying is that please, just bring it to their authority and you can have that discussion. That's all I'm saying. So from sitting at my seat, I'm sorry. I have to protect my commission. This is what their job is. This is what your job is. And we're not overreaching at all. We're not trying to rip authority away from the town council, sir, at all. We are just saying that they should work together. We should have this cooperation. That is their lane. They're staying in their lane. And then you have the right to say, yes, you can use this money, or no, you can't use this money. And you certainly have the right to go to my commission and say, we have a project here which is going to help improve traffic safety, and my commission is going to listen to you. You can't say that they're just going to say no, and we can't have it both ways. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm just taking my position is, as you're taking a strong position to back your people, I'm taking a strong position that the town council should never have to ask another entity in this town for permission to do anything. We are the ultimate authority that are elected by the people.
Then why have commissions? You should dissolve all your commissions and have it all go through the town council, the town manager then. Because if the commission has no authority at all, because that's basically what it is.
You don't have no authority?
Yes, you did. If you don't have to go to them, then it's no authority. You have complete autonomousness over them, so.
Mike?
I think we're at a point of not moving productively forward.
Right.
I think that hearing everybody, right, language is the problem, right, and the intent of the language, and I think it's important that maybe we take a step backwards for a minute here and maybe, not to say another workshop, but maybe a workshop to resolve the language with the LTA, the police commission, and the council, because I think it's very important. This project's very important, very passionate, Chief. I 100% agree on the safety piece of it, and I think that the mechanics of how it gets done and put into ordinance is important for all of us. So, whether we recommend maybe a pause for 2 weeks till the next meeting, let's dissect what's happening and look at the language to clear up the language to move it forward.
Understood.
What specific language is a problem, so we can jump right on that? What is the specific language you have trouble with? Dennis?
The part where it says that if the municipality, us, want to do something, we have to ask permission from the traffic authority. All distributions have to be approved by the traffic authority first.
That's not what it says at all, sir.
Okay, well.
Okay, so
read it.
I will read section H, which I think is your problem, okay? It says,
Because I don't have the copy in front of me,
okay,
I'm sorry.
once the police commission votes for an expenditure from the non-lapsing fund for an allowable purpose, the requested amount and purpose of the expenditure shall be forwarded to the town council to vote on the disbursement of the requested funds.
Right.
That's
Keep
exactly what it
reading.
says.
How about keep reading, Lou?
That's it. There's nothing else.
No.
It's right here, this one right here. The last one in red, H.
That's it. So I believe you already have what you want. You just don't want to go and ask my commission for something that you want. That's what seems to be the problem, as far as I understand it.
Do you have a question, Brian?
I was going to go along the same lines of Mike, is that I think we're stuck right now and reconvening on the language. This started as the fiduciary agent was not identified in the ordinance. That was Dennis's first ask. And then we got this, and now we're here.
But now we're asking Dennis what the problem is, perhaps.
H, once the police commission votes for an expenditure from the non-lapsing fund for an allowable purpose, the requested amount and purpose of the expenditure shall be forwarded to the town council.
Yes.
So that means that it has to go through the police commission first, all expenditures. That's what this says.
And then
Once the police commission votes for an expenditure from the non-lapsing fund for an allowable purpose, the request amount and purpose of the expenditure shall be forwarded to the town council to vote on, okay?
Yes, for us to vote on.
So that means if we have a project, we have to go to the police commission and have them vote on it. That's what this says. Correct.
Yeah.
So
I'm saying no. I'm saying that we, as a town council, don't have to go through the police commission to get permission. They have to go through us to get permission to spend funds, because we are the final people. But we ourselves don't have to ask somebody else for permission. Those funds are coming to the municipality. Read the statute. Has everybody read the statute? It just says the municipality has the right to spend it. It doesn't say it has to go to any traffic authority or anything along them lines, whether it's in your charters or what. It just says the municipality will spend it according to what they have listed, their parameters, period. That's all it says. The municipality will have a separate account and do an audit and spend that money according to what the state says in that statute, which is very vague. It just says, spend it for the expenditures of infrastructure, for safety and transportation.
I
So-
think what Dennis is asking is if, you know, and we could talk more about this, but you stop right there at what's written, and then you write something like, alternatively, the town council has the authority to use the money in the non-lapsing fund according to the statute.
Then who from the council is going to vet the project that it falls under a traffic or pedestrian safety concern to fit into the state statute? What data would you have to support? If you have to justify the use of the funds from this account per the statute, that's what it needs to be used for. So we
I
modeled
only
it,
anticipate us that we would probably use it to do a sidewalk project.
which is like $1 million. And if you have two groups, the council and the commission, that both have access to this account, and the police has a plan through, you know, that they're going to do a traffic enforcement, or they think that they need a rotary, or whatever it might be, and they're on that, you know, they have the crash data and everything to support it, and they're anticipating using these funds in this account, but then the council also parallel has the same, there's not enough money in the account. There has to be some coordination to make sure that the funds don't get depleted and that they're appropriately used. If you're both pulling from the same pool of money, there might not be enough to fund both projects.
They won't be pulling from the money unless they come to town council and talk to us.
Right, but they are gonna have the supporting data of why they need a certain thing. What is gonna base this group's decision to put a sidewalk in one area and have it funded through that fund versus a town going for a grant or our capital improvement plan?
We could do
What
exactly-
justifies it?
I don't want to interrupt you. We could do just like we do with other sidewalks. We get a consultant comes in for a quick thing and says, yeah, this sidewalk is very necessary because people, I mean,
But then you're
we
doing
could
the
do that.
same as the commission, like, that's the point of the traffic.
No,
That's
I
the point of the
understand.
police
Listen,
commission.
I'm not gonna argue with you all day, because we're here, and Chief made a great presentation, and I have nothing against the police department. The chief and all them men are the greatest police department in this state. But I just think the wording is not correct. That isn't like any other towns. I looked at Middletowns, I look at Washington's. Washington don't even have hardly anything. West Hartford, and Middletown and West Hartford are the two biggest agencies that did it, and they just have a clear and cut. There'll be an account run by the overseen by the finance director, period. And the funds will go through town council, period. That's all. No naming in the lapse in account, no doing this, you gotta go to the police commission for permission, you gotta do anything like that. So I'm not trying to take any authority away from the police commission, I'm not trying, traffic authority or anything else, but I just think the wording just doesn't make sense to me.
The reason we set it up for the non-lapsing was because.
And you
it-
don't even need to say non-lapsing, nobody else mentions non-lapsing.
No, I understand that, but for Clinton, you have a similar setup with the Board of Ed that works.
Different thing from that, madam.
No,
It's a whole different
it's
thing.
monies that would be going back to the town, but the Board of Ed is asking to have it put into this for needs that they feel that the school needs. Then they come to you and ask for permission to use the funds from that account, and this body has the ultimate authority. But we don't go into the non-lapsing Board of Ed account and use it for
That's why I don't
counts.
want it to be called a non-lapsing.
That's not a
We don't dip
successful-
into the non-lapsing account, that's why
I
I
don't
don't.
like the way that's.
I don't-
And we fund that, yeah, we fund that, right? The money that goes into that fund comes from the town council.
Correct.
It's
The money that
left
goes
over
into
in the
this fund
Board
will
of
come
Ed.
from-
It's left over from the Board of Ed, right, which can go
But it
back to the
comes from the
state.
surplus of the Board
The
of
state says,
Education.
right, but it can go back to the municipality, but they request that it goes into this account.
Right.
So they don't have to put it in that account. That's something that council allows.
Right.
So,
Whereas what goes into this account, we can't control.
because
It co-
it's
it just
generated
comes.
through something from that.
The funds come to the municipality, that's where the funds go.
I'm
The
sorry?
funds from this project come to the municipality.
That's it.
That's it, that's what they say.
That's what
Right.
it says.
So we're doing something different.
Exactly.
Well,
That's what it says.
we have
It just says
criteria
the
that,
funds go to the municipality, and they have the right to spend it as long as they spend it according to that statute for infrastructure, transportation, exact words, infrastructure.
How many of us would want to see the traffic authority prioritize projects for us, rather than we prioritize projects for them? How many people would like them?
So the difference, the question is recommendation versus authority,
Right.
right? They can make recommendations, but do
Which
they
is
have the
what they're
authority?
doing, according to
And
this.
of course,
It's a
we want them to make
recommendation.
recommendations, but the
Of course
question
we
is, should
want
they
them
have
to
the
make
authority?
recommendations.
It's another issue for another day.
I don't think we've ever had this issue before.
No.
Want a sidewalk
No, I
project,
mean,
we
this
deal
is
with a
new
sidewalk
money. I
project.
mean, it's all-
but the funding source for those are different.
This is very different.
I
yeah.
understand the funding source, but if it states that the money comes to the municipality, then the ultimate oversight is the municipality. If we put it into another account that somebody else has oversight on, then that is different. That's all we're saying.
How many people would like to see no votes? How many people would like to see this language changed?
I think we got to talk about it more.
Okay, well then, there's the answer. We need to talk
Well, I
about
just
it
think,
more.
yeah, if we table it for
Okay, we'll table 6A.
further discussion, and quite frankly, I'd like to see the town attorney come in on it. So he can give us all the could be's, not be's, and what he thinks. I don't know.
Okay.
Town attorney would be a great addition. He could tell us just
All right.
what's our parameters and what our,
Do you want him to come in, or do you want him to give you an opinion? Like, do you want him physically to come in, or do you want him to review it and write it?
so that we can
Okay,
ask him various questions, and, because there's a lot of things that we have in our mind and we forget, we don't, while we're here. Well, whatever, I'm not gonna beat this.
All right, is that it for discussion?
If somebody could clue me in at some point so I can work with the language, because I thought I was giving you what you were asking for, obviously not, because this was,
Well, we're gonna have.
I mean, the first one was
a-
pretty much, we could have just left the first one as it was, and then none of this language would have been in there, but I was asked to add it specifically, so that's why I added
I'm
it.
not pointing the finger at you, Chief. You did a great job. Thank you for
I
doing
will.
what
Make a
you
motion.
did.
After
I'll make a
we
motion to
say-
table.
Yeah. All right.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Okay, item number 7.
6A.
Bonding update.
6A.
a
We
6A.
tabled it.
We tabled.
We
No,
tabled
no,
it.
no, 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 no.
The steep grant.
6 you tabled,
6A,
6A
we need
is
6A,
the
right?
steep.
Oh,
Steve
I'm sorry,
Grant.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Bob. 6A is. a
Wait, one more
motion-
thing.
We're almost done here.
Hey, Bob.
6A is a motion to send the
Resolution. Sign the resolution.
authorizing the steep grant.
So we got the steep grant from the state. Part of the packet in reviewing it was a resolution that needs to be signed by the town. So I need the council to authorize me to sign and complete the resolution.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, and now, sorry, Bob, number 7, a bonding update.
Good morning. I've got 3 handouts. One is just the history of the town's bonding. We've looked at this before, but we've issued some bonds in February of 2025, so we've updated it. And then there's the all-important bond forecast schedule, which we've seen, but it's been updated. Some assumptions have been updated. Then at the same time, I thought it would be helpful just to look at our current capital improvement plan that was approved last budget process. It's just a summary. Thanks. So the small sheet is just the history of Clinton's debt issuance. Over the last 15 years, we've issued almost $65 million in bonds, of which the major portion was the new Morgan High School, $38 million. And basically, the only thing that's been added to this sheet since the last sheet that was handed out is the 2025 issue, which was $2,150,000. There's a reference column towards each bond issue, and it just gives you the projects that were bonded. And then, not to be confusing, but you'll see some projects were just called 2017 various detail and 2019 various detail, because when you get a lot of smaller projects, the bond council tends to just categorize it into this one subject. So on the right-hand side, the 2017 various detail, 2019 various detail, just to be sure, they're not bond issues, they're the amount that you authorized. So we could have bonded for some of this, or we could have received grants specifically for bridge projects. 80% were grants, but I just put that in because in the reference you'll see some references to the 2017. For instance, reference number 5 on the bottom, 2017 various infrastructure improvements for $250. I just wanted to give you an idea of what 2017, 2019 is. So that's just for your interest, actually, to look at the types of bonding projects that we've done over the years.
So these are just total authorized bondings?
Yes.
That's it, okay.
Yeah, the actual bonded amounts is the top left-hand corner, and the reference amounts 1 through 6 shows you the projects that are actually bonded. The 2017 various detail, 2019 various detail on the right-hand side is just a description of what you authorized. It's not, as you see in the footnote, bonding amount equals total authorized less any grants received. That's just for informational purposes. So let's go to the bond forecast schedule. You know, the green amounts there, which are possible bonding amounts for those fiscal years, those amounts, we don't necessarily mean to bond that specific amount. That's just what I figured out that we could afford that year, so we don't blow our budget, right? We don't approve projects as they come in. We do a forecast and properly plan, and if a project comes in, we look at this schedule to see if we can afford it. Now, obviously, there are some times, like the Morgan School, where you almost have no choice, and it's a budget buster. But for the most part, we plan this first. This document's continuously changing because the assumptions are always changing. I changed the interest rate assumption. I get those interest rates from our financial advisor because they're the bonding experts. But this is the most recent one. On the left-hand column, the second column, current debt service schedule. So if we never bonded again, that's the debt service each fiscal year going through 2037. So that's our current debt service schedule.
And then it expires, nothing's beyond 10 years?
The bonding's 20 years.
20 years. So 2037, this would go further if you...
It goes further, yes. But you can see how it rapidly decreases and eventually to nothing. And now we have the next 2 future years, the next 10 future years and a forecast bonded amount for those years. How do I come out with those amounts? There are two things that I look at. I look at our annual debt service, and we know that we don't want that to increase by 10% each year. That's a budget buster. So we're looking roughly at 3% and less. So when we look at forecasted debt issues, I don't want the budget to increase for debt service more than 3%. So that's one thing I look at. In fact, that's the most important thing I look at. And then the next thing is a debt service indicator that the rating agencies gives us. If any town reaches debt service as a percent of total budget of 10%, they're in trouble. So we're looking at that, and you could see on the very, very far right-hand column on this forecast, we're at 7.5%. and it's decreasing, which is good. So we're nowhere near 10. And it's always going to decrease because we're looking at the annual debt service budget increase. If I keep it at 3%, that debt service as a percent budget is always going to decrease. It's just the math.
If you keep what at 3%?
If my vision is to keep annual debt service never increasing above 3% year after year, the debt service as a percent of budget naturally declines. Right. It's only when we have a runaway annual debt service situation where this starts increasing and we're under pressure. So if you look at the third to last column, it probably should have a heading, but the third to last column are the forecasted annual debt service budget increases. So the highest one there is 3.07. Most of them are 2.5, 2.8, you know. So most of them are pretty reasonable, you know, if you compare it to inflation. So anyway, this is the debt service schedule. It gives an idea. So for instance, in the new year, we can afford 2.5, second year 3.5, third year 4. We have more flexibility in the last 5 years. So in the last 5 years, it goes from 3 million to 6 to 8 to 6, now to 10 to 12. I mean, that's very nice to know in the 10th year we can afford, it's not that we're going to do it, but if some big project comes on the horizon and somebody requests it in 6 years, they may have to wait another 3, right? Or there's other things we can do. We can do short-term borrowing, and it can be rolled over for 3 years until we get to that 10th year. But there is some flexibility here. So anyway, we do this first.
So the reason for that big pop in 2036 is because we have big bonds that we issued in 2016, and the 20 years have run.
Right, right. So we have bond issues that are falling off the debt service schedule. And I have that. I can share that with you too. It'll probably be 3 of these, but I have that debt service schedule too.
Does that go in, so the number in green that's going across there, you're looking at, you don't want that to increase by 3%. You're also factoring in at the same time what's rolling off and?
Yes.
and that-
Yes, so because the second column is the current debt service schedule. Now, let me just reemphasize, the numbers in green are the debt service amounts that I could issue. What I don't want to go over 3% is the various lines going across. See the salmon-colored estimated debt service fiscal year, right? So currently, our debt service in the budget is $5,043,000.
So these aren't, you're not saying, obviously, this is what we should be bonding.
No.
This is available bonding.
Maximum.
Based upon a max of 3%, so that our debt service doesn't get to a point where our taxes are increasing.
Right, so I'm not saying we should borrow this. I'm saying when things come before us,
So what we did with the budget was we took the CIP requests, and then we look at, Bob and I did this during the budget season, and then we work backwards. We look at the requests, we look on what is time-sensitive, what has to happen soon, and we look and we know, okay, well, we can only fit in this upcoming budget if we were to bond everything and not use any undesignated, which is, dwindling, we have 2.5. So we have to go through this list of needs for the town and not spend more than 2.5 if we're going to bond it all. And then if we see a big project here, we say, okay, well, in year 7, we have $6 million that potentially available to bond. We can do a larger project in year 7, and we can plug all these projects in. So we know that if we have something big coming, okay, well, we have to kick the can a little bit to, year 8, and we can still stay safely in our budget because we have this room.
and we're not intentionally wanting to bond that amount in the green, but if you look at the CIP process and the requests that we get from the departments, and you have to prioritize them, for instance, in year 1, if we get $5 million worth of capital projects, and we've got the department heads here, and we're saying, look, We can only do 2.5. So you have to prioritize, you have to find another way to spend it, or you knock the project down the line. Or some projects don't get done because they're low priority.
The only thing, just to get on my soapbox, I know I've said this before, I love this, this is great. And the only thing that I think we have to always keep in our back of our mind is that we have a tendency in this town, when somebody brings a big project that isn't a high priority, if it's something that's a high priority, we get it done. If it's something that's a nice to have, we push it down the line, like you said. We kick it down and say, we'll do that in year 4, and we never do it in year 4. And so if we say we're gonna push it down, we have to, and it's hard because we might not even be here, this town council's elected, so, it's hard when you push it down to year 4 or 5, this same council may not even be here. So that's the only thing, there's no solution, there's nothing, but we have to just keep that in the back of our mind when we're doing it this way.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we have to say we're not going to do it.
I mean, it's a nice to want, and it's a nice thing to add to the community, but there are some things that we just can't do. Like, for example, we did, like with Todd and Public Works, the equipment's very expensive. So Todd gave us a yearly breakdown of the age of each, from lawnmowers to the trucks. And we can plot out and say, okay, this is on year 30, year 25 on this pickup truck. We know that that's going to be, we need to fit this in. But there's some things that we maybe, can't fund through bonding, but we can seek other grants. We have, like, when we did the CIP, the landfill, we have an anticipated revenue. That revenue is on the CIP in year, I think, 2, to pay for a project. Because it's coming in, instead of it going into the undesignated, we will put it right back out and take something off of our list for a one-time revenue source that we received and knock something off our list. So we are trying to be very mindful of all of our opportunities to take care of some projects.
And there's going to be a lot more pressure now. I mean, we don't have the ARPA funds, which we had the great luxury of buying some nice capital equipment. You're not going to use fund balance for much longer, so there is going to be a lot of sharp knives out there, and we're just going to have to fund the priorities, So if you look at the CIP summary, keeping in mind that the CIP is just a plan. You approve it, you don't approve expenditures, you're approving the plan. The plan changes every year. The only thing you're approving is, in the first year, you're approving the line regarding Fund 60, the CIP fund. You're approving that first year because it's in the budget. Everything else is just you're approving the plan. The only time you approve expenditures is when you get a bond authorization in front of you, and then you're approving the project. So you can say yay and nay when the time comes. Because this forecast schedule changes every year, right? If interest rates double, then it's going to look entirely different. Try to be conservative as possible on here. The assumption for the budget increases in here is 3%. Like I said, the interest rate is...
Interest rates may decline, but our bonds are issued already at the rate that they're issued at.
Right.
But new bonds would be...
The refi.
Yeah.
The forecast.
Oh, yeah?
You refi the bonds if the rates come down.
Right. Yep, yeah. So you'll see this, obviously again during the budget process when we review the new CIP, and it will be revisited.
So I love the way you look at it and the way you presented it, that you look at your maximum capacity and what can I afford? You don't go say, what do I want to have, and then later try to figure out how to pay for it. You say, what can we afford it? And then you back into what you go get. And here's our capital plan that's been proposed by the different departments, how we're going to spend money. But there's a couple of very large items that are floating out there. When in a normal municipality, you need to build a school or a firehouse, or WPCC needs infrastructure. And none of those big projects, that are...
None of them are in the 10 years.
Yeah, in the 10-year plan, there's no plan to address any of those big ones.
Right. There are no, as far as I know, the only new things that you're going to see in the next CIP plan There are some bridge projects, they're fully funded by the state, but they will be added, and they'll be in the grant column, not in the bonding column. I know of no large boating projects in the next 10 years. But as the years go by, you'll see something added in year 10 that's...
Well, wait, as you get out to the end of this, as the school bonds mature or retire, then you have some room to go do something again, so some other big project. So if you were thinking long-term, 10, 20 years, you'd say, okay, when's the time that we could go do things like infrastructure or firehouse?
So the second 5 years look pretty good. Now, I haven't done a 20-year one. The third 5 years may be even better. I'm sure they are, but it's good to know. It's good to know that there's some flexibility in the future.
But also, and that's a great point, but also, as a town council, I understand we have to have the budget, and we have to say no to some projects, but we also need to spend money at times. And, as a town council who represents the people, sometimes they want things that aren't a school or a sidewalk, and so we have to figure those. That's really my point more. It's like, we have to realistically figure in things like, fields or, things that aren't life and death, but that the town wants.
Right, so the bond forecast schedule can be used as a what-if schedule. So in other words, what if in year 8 we need to bond $20 million? We could put that in here and we can see the effect on the budget and the future budget. So it is also a what-if. So when we come to that point in time, you could also do a schedule and you can insert, not what you can afford, but you can insert some large projects to give you an idea of implications, I guess. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of slow, you know that. Could we go across the top of these headings? General fund, transfer out to Fund 60. But that column, that is what's going into the budget. Is that correct? That's paid out of the budget?
That is correct. So that's the only portion.
That's the part that was actually in the budget?
No.
That the people...
He's
Go ahead.
saying, no, I think this is what happened last time. This is not money that is in, this is transfer out to Fund 60. So this is money
That's paid
from the
out of the cap-
undesignated.
out of the
Undesignated,
undesignated.
right, but it's not part of our,
Okay.
it's not.
But you have to think of it this way, it's two ways, right?
But where is the column that puts that some of these things that people request could actually be in the budget? Paid for in our actual budget, like we used to do years ago.
The very last column.
Other department operations, see all the way to the,
Department operations, that's the only thing that comes out of the budget.
right, but we're building that. Remember, Dennis, this was the first year we added that line item back, and we were able to start funding it. So now when we work on the budget this year, we will fund it a little bit more, so we can build that line back up, which years ago was taken out.
Okay, thank you.
But that
What
first-
about other funds? What is that?
Other funds could be,
The capping is one of them, like the revenue from the landfill capping.
Oh,
And then the grants is like, obviously, the 500,000 is the steep, and then bonding. So
the
that's how it's.
540 that the harbor got, that's the steep grant,
That's
the
the,
harbor grant,
that's
whatever
the
that is.
ship
Okay.
grant.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
but let me respond to the first question. That first column, general fund transfer out to
Right.
Fund 60, on the expenditure side, it is in the budget, it's a transfer item. On the revenue side, we've been using fund balance, but once fund balances can't be used, we're gonna be using taxes, right?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right now,
I
it's
mean, we're anticipating, again, down here, 26, 27, 27, 28, that we're taking all this money out of the transfer out of 60. There's nothing over in this column here in department operations.
No, because we just started that process.
Okay, I mean, we should be shifting more and more if we can into
Absolutely.
department operations. Correct. Okay, all right, and we intend to do that.
We intend to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But we have to see, and that will have a direct effect on the mill rate. So that's where we have to
Right.
see what our regular operations increases are, contractual and all of that, and see how much
Okay.
room we have.
Thank you. Now, Thank you for that.
The goal is to flip it and get that line item up there.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
All right. Item number 8, the economic development update. Michelle will give us that.
So, a couple of things going on. Starting tomorrow, Alan is going to be doing Facebook and social media posts of a business spotlight. So it's to help promote businesses in town, not just our Main Street corridor. He will be focusing on one in, this main area of town, and then, other businesses throughout the town. So he'll be interviewing business owners, and that will help share with, our community and, across the state pretty much, what Clinton has in place, what Clinton can hold, if we have manufacturing and things like that. So he's going to help start doing that. So that'll be on Thursdays. We have a ribbon cutting coming up for Care Vet Health right down here at 14 East Main. That's going to be on October 17th at 10:30. I will be sending a formal invite out to the council. We kicked off the month of Halloween here in Clinton. We have a lot of events taking place, so we wanted to spotlight that. So a post went up today of some of the great things taking place. I do want to note that the Trunk or Treat has a change of location. It is the same date, October 24th from 5 to 7, but it is going to be held at Clinton Crossing. This change of location is due to safety, and since it is a town event this year, previously it's been held by the chamber, there was some concerns about the safety of the entering and exiting of Indian River Complex. So we have brought it back to Clinton Crossing. And Alan will be here on November 5th to give the council an update on economic development, what he's been up to since he started the position, and little updates on Connecticut Main Street, the EDC, and everything happening on that front. That is what I have for economic development.
Questions? Do we still have Dale Croup with us?
We do.
Okay.
He's
When does his contract expire?
well, he doesn't have a contract, he has set funds, so it kind of depends on how many hours he puts in. We're getting towards the end of it, but I can get you an update on that.
Okay, thank you. No questions? All right, thank you. Item number 9, town managers report.
Just a couple of things. We received $11,572.47 from the Secretary of State to help with cost related to implementing and conducting early voting. The funds need to be fully expended by December 31st, 2025, and an accounting of the expenditures are due to the Secretary of State by the end of January 26th. The Upper Mill Pond Dam Indian River Fishway construction project has started this week. This project went back in 2022. Clinton received a $500,000 grant funding the design and construction of the fishway at the Upper Mill Pond Dam on Indian River. So that project has started. Just to give you a recap, it is a complete barrier for the fish in case of, to help with spawning, and they're removing the dams and building fishways over dams allow the fish population to expand and habitat the upstream and increase the numbers. There are many benefits to this. The project has public benefits too. The fishway construction project will include an ADA compliant ramp that will enable visitors to access the viewing platform overlooking the river and the fishway. A sign will be there to describe the fishway function and the importance of these fish runs, both within the Indian River watershed along with Long Island Sound. And it is expected to be completed by spring, March 2026. And that's it. It's been very busy, but this is just...
Any questions? No? Okay. Item number 10 is a chairman's report. Norm Needleman will be coming on October 11th from 2 to 3 p.m. to take a tour.
The
of
11th
our-
or 14th?
Is it the 14th? Would you check?
it was the 14th.
To take a tour of our town and to speak with Todd.
16th?
16th, sorry. October 16th, 2 to 3, specifically to check out the site where the DPW will have their steeple awarded building. but also to look around, check around downtown. You're all invited, everybody from 2 to 3, October 16th. I imagine we'll meet here. I attended the beach cleanup last Saturday.
16th.
Okay. Beach cleanup last Saturday. And there were a lot of people who noted all the firework debris that was there 1 month later. Obviously, this was the Land Trust that was doing it, hosting it. And so there was a lot of talk and questions that the town consider a drone light show. Just throwing it out there. I have been speaking with a lot of people. Mike, Chris, and I are door knocking. And so we have opportunity to speak more often with residents. And after having spoken with Elaine Godowski, who has for 28 years successfully run the George Flynn concerts, her idea, and I know she's taken it to Michelle, of using our town hall auditorium more like the Kate is something that I look forward to hearing more about. And perhaps Michelle will talk to us later about that meeting with her. Don't know how it went.
One question. You said there was a lot of debris around the beach?
There was,
From the fireworks.
yeah, a lot of the cardboard.
Public Works did go and do a nice, you did.
Jeez, I've been down there quite a bit in the last
Garbage
2
bag.
weeks. I spent a lot of time down there, and I didn't notice that much, but
I
On
think you maybe had
Saturday, I
really-
know that a lot of people picked up a lot of stuff, and there was a lot of talk about it. And they're also concerned about that debris. And what we can pick up, but what about the stuff in the water, you know, that we can't retrieve? There was a lot of talk,
oh,
you know. But as far as, I hear a lot about Henry on Main, and I think that's an unquestionable success. Everybody's very happy with that. And I noticed in some conversations that change, maybe everywhere, change comes hard, but change comes hard in Clinton for certain. And there are a lot of people who have a lot of comments about, well, why is Christmas in Clinton on Sunday? Why are we changing it from Sunday to Saturday? Why are these traditions changing? And I might not be a bad idea to remind them that there is a reason that these things have changed, because they had to.
Yeah, no, and I've been doing that. I have to say too, I don't know, I haven't heard anything negative about changing Christmas in Clinton to Saturday. In fact, it's complete opposite. Placemakers has been helping, and they literally are talking to pretty much to every business and organization, and everyone is thrilled. It's actually easier on the businesses in this area because they're open already on Saturday versus Sunday evenings. They have to either open or stay closed, and that's not a good look. And there's 2 other large craft fairs that day. Joel's having one, and the church across the street is having one. So it was just a natural, come to Clinton's, get in the Christmas spirit for the day, start here, go over there, finish your day here, you know, and we were able to bring a lot of the traditions back, the soup cook-off, and just expand it. So it's been quite well received. So, I mean, I'm more than happy to. I have to do the Clinton Events magazine article. I also try not to, I don't want to focus on the negative. I mean, the reason the town's doing it is unfortunate, due to an unfortunate situation. However, when we do have an opportunity, like with the fireworks and trunk or treat, and it's on the town side, we do try to evaluate it, make sure it's serving the town to its best ability, and we get a lot of feedback, and we have a larger reach than prior organization that did it. So we do get a lot of feedback, and we take that and we try to implement it, so.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear some negative, and I'm happy to know that it's.
There's
you know,
always negative out there.
Yes, there is, and we happen to hear a lot of it, yeah. All right, so that's it for the chairman's report. Is there any council discussion? Nope. All right. Are there any liaison reports?
Me?
Nope.
I was just gonna ask you, Chris, when I was down the beach and I walk out to the point, I noticed now they've got ribbons along the edge of the harbor. Is that where the erosion control, is that the problem that Park Rec is investigating about erosion?
I don't know.
Yes,
You
they
know?
are working on implementing the erosion plan that they have. We are in the process of working with Race to get that area marked off, and then they'll be sandbagged to help further erosion. They're going to put sandbags as part of a way for, as storms come in over the winter, to help preserve some of the beach area. So it's one of the steps. But it had to be, the line had to be
There's
lineated.
no project I can bring more sand back in to build up those doors.
So it's probably, I honestly, the erosion plan is a little old and it's quite large. I haven't read through it. I know the Parks and Rec
I just
Commission.
noticed those
Yep.
ribbons.
The Park and Rec Commission went through the plan. They're working very closely with Abby on what they can afford to do with the funds that are left in their grant
Yeah.
and are implementing that.
They also need some permit from some.
Right, so they need a permit from DEEP and anything you do in the.
It is eroded.
Right, so,
One section.
Okay, that's it. All right, is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Motion carries, and thank you very much.